as the Institute for Training and Research, is aiming to provide the best possible trainings for national government officials, especially in developing countries. Last year we had close to 500 training events reaching approximately 60,000 participants, most of whom were in Africa. And now we hope that with this course and with this cooperation with IUCN, we're going to reach many more participants. And this course is especially vital for national planners as it focuses on the big issues, why we need to integrate climate change and biodiversity into spatial planning.
This kind of land use planning which is integrated is quite important because in Western Tanzania, where Lake Tanganyika is really found, shared by Tanzania and Zambia, we find a lot of biodiversity, we find a lot of land users, we have a lot of resources within and resource users. So in that case, it's quite important that we have the regulations and tools to make sure that we sustainably manage our resources. So the land use, the integrated land use plan is quite important for all the stakeholders to get regulated in terms of using the available resources, which is almost scarcity, and most of species are almost extinct and endangered. We have chimps in Western Tanzania, we have endangered African elephants, we have lions, we have even other key important species which are in the region.
The course is divided into 4 modules. The first is dealing with the issues of the general concepts. Why do we need to integrate biodiversity and climate change into spatial planning? The second one focuses on the institutional level. How does all of this work in institutional context, where participants will be looking at the international law and how to have an intersectoral approach and how to work with the different national institutions and also at the international level. In the third module, participants will be looking at the stakeholders, how to best involve stakeholders, identifying the important stakeholders and how to engage them in every step of the decision-making process. And finally, as ecosystems and landscapes do not stop at national borders, the focus will be on the transboundary elements.
It is imperative that climate change and biodiversity conservation is incorporated in the land use planning, in the sense that land use planning is a driver of the zoning system, and if not well taken care of, it comes with adverse implications on biodiversity, in the sense that even ecologically sensitive areas are cleared to pave way for physical development. And of course, forests, which acts as a carbon sink, and which of course helps in evapotranspiration and other aspects of hydrological cycle. They are disturbed such that they are unprecedented weather patterns leading to floods, droughts, and of course surface warming as a result of these anthropogenic factors, mainly induced by human activities such as cutting down trees and other things. So it is imperative that integrated land use planning is take a center stage, in the sense that there is need to combat climate change and of course conserve biodiversity, because I'm sure human beings and animals, air and other things coexist. So there's need to create a conducive environment for our coexistence with flora and of course fauna for us to interact smoothly, and to have of course towns or cities that are livable and sustainable.
So from the context of climate change and adaptation, also the biodiversity protection, we play a major role in ensuring that all the land uses in Tanzania, all the land use plans integrate all the necessary components of protecting the environment, biodiversity, and adapt measures for the climate change. So for example, we have a law which governs the land use planning in Tanzania, which ensures that there is integration among sectoral ministries which deals with land use planning. This involves the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Livestock and Fisheries, Minister of Water, and so on. So from my experience, when we prepare the village land use plans, we ensure that all the stakeholders involved who has a stake at the land are quite fully involved, so that the management tools can be well integrated and interpreted by the law, so that to make sure that the law enforcers have the necessary, they get the necessary information, the necessary clauses which make them to reach to the proper and crucial and important decision making in the enforcement of land use plans.
We've got the IUCN project in the Lake Tanganyika ecosystem, and they have helped to support us to come up with the biodiversity climate change strategy in Insumbu National Park on the Zambian side. So this is one of the documents that we are using to address the impacts of climate change in the area. This is a new model, and we would like to roll it out throughout the country.
And I really recommend this course to every national government official who is just remotely involved in planning, because I believe that having an integrated approach is the future and the best way to deal with current topics such as climate change and the loss of biodiversity.